No one gave them a chance, not the pundits, not the bookmakers, not even their own fans deep down. A nation of just over 600,000 people walking into a World Cup knockout match against the reigning champions and the greatest player alive. Nobody told Cape Verde they were supposed to lose. Tonight, in Miami, the football world watched something it will never forget. A tiny island nation pushed Lionel Messi and Argentina to the very edge of elimination, and for a few unbelievable minutes, the impossible looked real. This is the story of how Argentina almost fell, and how one own goal saved their World Cup dream. To understand how insane this night was, you need to understand where Cape Verde came from. This was their first ever World Cup appearance, ever, in the history of the nation. Ranked 67th in the world, they arrived in the United States as the tournament's forgotten team, the side everyone expected to make up the numbers and go home quietly. Instead, something strange started happening. They held Spain, one of the tournament favorites, to a scoreless draw. Their goalkeeper became an overnight sensation. Then they battled Uruguay to a wild 2-all draw. By the time the knockout stage arrived, Cape Verde hadn't lost a single match, not one. And waiting for them in the round of 32 was Argentina, the defending champions. The team many believed would win it all again. Led by a 40-something-year-old man who refused to slow down, Lionel Messi, playing in his sixth and possibly final World Cup. On paper, this was a mismatch. In reality, nobody told Cape Verde that. The match started exactly how everyone predicted. 29 minutes in, Messi did what Messi does. A composed touch, a clinical finish past the Cape Verde goalkeeper, and Argentina were ahead. It was his 7th goal of the tournament and the 20th World Cup goal of his career, extending his own all-time record. The crowd in Miami relaxed. This was going to plan, but nobody knew what was coming next. Cape Verde didn't panic. They didn't sit back. They kept pushing, kept believing, and just before the hour mark, their moment arrived. Deroy Duarte drove a shot into the far corner, and the stadium fell into stunned silence. 1-1. The smallest footballing nation at the World Cup had just leveled the score against the world champions. Argentina pushed. Cape Verde defended like their lives depended on it. Their goalkeeper produced save after save, throwing his body across goal again and again, becoming the story of the entire tournament in real time. 90 minutes came and went. No winner, extra time. Here's what most highlight reels won't show you. The real story wasn't just about goals, it was about belief. Cape Verde's players grew stronger as the game went on, not weaker. Their manager had built a team with almost no fear of reputation. To them, Argentina's badge meant nothing once the whistle blew. And there was something else happening. As the minutes ticked into extra time, you could feel the pressure shifting. Argentina, the champions, were the ones starting to look nervous. Cape Verde, the underdogs with nothing to lose, were the ones playing with freedom. That's where everything changed. Just 2 minutes into extra time, Lisandro Martinez rose at a corner and fired Argentina back in front. 2-1. Surely this was the moment Cape Verde's fairy tale ended, but the real story is even crazier than that. Sidney Lopez Cabral had other plans. From the edge of the box, he curled a strike into the corner that stunned everyone inside the stadium. Players, coaches, commentators, millions watching around the world. It wasn't just a good goal. It was one of the greatest strikes in World Cup history, scored by a player from a nation most fans couldn't have pointed to on a map a month earlier. 2-2. Extra time. The champions on the ropes. For a few unbearable minutes, the entire football world considered the unthinkable. The tiny island nation of Cape Verde, population smaller than a mid-sized city, was 90 seconds away from eliminating the reigning World Cup champions. However, football has a habit of writing brutal endings. Argentina won a corner. Messi swung it in. Christian Romero rose above the Cape Verde defense and powered a header goalward. The ball took a deflection off a Cape Verde defender on its way in. Own goal. 3-2, Argentina. The dream was over, by the smallest, cruelest margin imaginable. Argentina survived. They lived to fight another day, advancing to face Egypt in the round of 16. But make no mistake, This was the closest the reigning champions have come to a knockout stage exit since their unforgettable final against France back in 2022. For Cape Verde, the tournament ends here, but their story doesn't end with the final whistle. A nation of just over 600,000 people, a fraction of the population of Buenos Aires alone, had just gone toe-to-toe with the greatest team in the sport and nearly won. They leave the World Cup with their heads held high, remembered not as a team that got beaten, but as the team that almost broke football. Social media exploded within seconds of that equalizer. Fans who had never heard of Cape Verde before this tournament were suddenly chanting their name. Argentine fans admitted it themselves. For a few unbearable minutes, they feared the unthinkable. Neutral fans everywhere fell in love with the underdog story. This wasn't just a match anymore. It became one of the most talked about moments of the entire World Cup. Analysts have called it one of the greatest World Cup upsets that never quite happened. Statistically, Cape Verde had almost no right to be level with Argentina late into extra time. Their expected chances of scoring were dramatically lower than Argentina's across the match. But football isn't decided by statistics alone. It's decided by belief, heart, and moments. And for over 100 minutes, Cape Verde had all three. This match will be remembered for years, not just as a footnote in Argentina's title defense, but as proof that the gap between football's giants and its smallest nations is closing. Cape Verde didn't just play in a World Cup. They changed how the world sees what's possible for small footballing nations. And for Argentina, a warning. The road to defending their crown just got a lot harder. Argentina survived. Messi extended his legend. But the real winners of the night wore the blue and white of Cape Verde. They didn't win the match, but they won something bigger, the heart of every football fan watching around the world. Sometimes the greatest stories in football aren't about who lifts the trophy, they're about who refuses to believe they don't belong on the biggest stage of all.